Are you struggling to make good grades in school? Let me share a quick story. Meet Alex, a young, determined student with big dreams who, despite studying all night every day and drinking lots of caffeine, still struggles to make good grades. Well, fortunately for Alex, he started doing well in school again. What was the turning point? He realizing the top 5 mistakes that were silently sabotaging his academic success. Do you also find yourself in a similar situation? Well, you are not alone. So buckle up and let's dive in. So the first mistake students make all the time is not learning how to learn. Now, not learning how to learn is like diving into the ocean without knowing how to swim. Most students do not really know that there is a way to learn. People think that to learn simply means you take your books and do what everyone is doing. So most people will just pick up their books, reread their notes, highlight their notes, summarize their notes, and think that that is learning. But there are tons and tons of research that shows that there is a way to learn, and that is what this channel has been talking about all this time. And we've talked about some of these evidence-based learning techniques like active recall, spaced repetition, interleaving. These are techniques that have been proven by evidence that if you can apply in your study life, you are sure to do very well than you are doing now. The second mistake that students make all the time is isolation over collaboration. While studying alone may seem like a heroic move, the power of studying with people is actually way better. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people who would prefer to study alone all the time, lock themselves up and study. Maybe that is how they are able to do well. But there is this myth that in order to be able to focus and to study well, you have to lock yourself up in a room and be there alone. Now, most people who tend to really struggle in school and don't seem to enjoy their academic journey are usually those who are what we call the lone wolf. They fight alone, they move alone, they do everything alone. But in order to really succeed and do well in school, you have to adopt the strategy of working with a team. Working with a team is like moving on the wings or the strength of others. Find yourself a group of people you can learn with. It might be your group study mates that you can study with them. But the caveat here is that you might not even be learning the same thing. So you can be a medical student like myself and have friends from other departments that you can sit down together, maybe on around the same table or something, to study together. And all that you are doing is to kind of motivate yourself, because when you're in a group, you tend to put out your best performance. If you were to be studying alone, you are more likely to tell yourself that, oh, I'm tired, let me go to sleep, or let me relax more. But if you were to be studying with a group, you would be able to bring out your best. So even if you don't have friends in the same department to study with, you can just get people in other faculties who will be willing to study with you. So you all sit around at the same time, and then you decide to study your individual separate notes. But of course, it's much better if you can even have people that you study the same course with, so that if there's anything that you don't understand, you can quickly ask them to help you. I have realized personally in my own life that when I study with friends and I go for group studies, I tend to do much better than when I do things alone. So don't make the mistake of studying alone. Of course, there are times where personal studies is really beneficial, but try to incorporate group work also. So remember, don't think of studying as a single player game, but as a multiplayer game. Now, mistake number 3 is poor time management. I find a lot of students wasting enormous amount of time in school, and I think that people have not come to understand or appreciate the value of time yet. Most students do not know the essence of little time. Have you ever felt like time just slipped through your fingers? Well, Alex felt like that too. You have to understand how important time is in your life as a student. Most students sometimes are waiting to get a lot of time to sit down and study. So when they go for lectures, let's say they have one class in the morning and then they have another one later in the afternoon. Between the morning and the afternoon class, They do not see it as valuable time. They rather spend that time hanging out with friends, texting, wasting it, doing virtually nothing with that time. Now, if for instance you have class in the morning and another class in the afternoon, don't think that the free time you have between the morning class and then the afternoon class should be wasted. Instead of spending that time talking with friends, wasting it, why don't you spend that time to read something, even if it's for 30 minutes? After all, reading just 30 minutes every day is better than not reading at all. But most people who don't appreciate the value of little time would rather postpone all their learning to the evening. But the thing is that you don't really have much time in the evening, because by the time you get to your home in the evening, you are probably tired. You will have to spend some of the time to eat. You have to spend some of the time to shower down. You have to spend some of the time to even rest or sleep. So by the time you realize you don't have much time on your hands to study, and this mistake is being made by students each and every time. So from today, decide to take advantage of little time. Plan your day. Start with a daily planner. Plan the things that you want to do. There's something that is not on your to-do list and it comes up and it's not important. Learn to say no to it. I realize that most people are not bold enough to say no, but you shouldn't be afraid to turn down the requests of people and to say no to people who would waste your time. So learn the art of time management and take hold of your life, because time is your life and your life is your time. If you mismanage your time, you have mismanaged your life, not only as a student, but your life in general. The mistake I find a lot of students making is the fact that they do not really value their health. Yes, most students don't value their health. They ignore self-care at the expense of their books. And that is really dangerous, because what is the essence of going to school, studying, excelling, only to come out of school and be sick or to have bad health? So our friend Alex failed to discover that a burned out brain is no genius at all. I find a lot of people who binge on alcohol, caffeine, junk food. People don't even exercise. And this is something that research has shown that can really improve your mind and your memory. Whenever you exercise, you help your neural connections to form better, thereby remembering the things that you learn. Whenever you don't exercise and you live an immobile life, you will soon realize that you will become fatigued, you will be burned out, you would always be tired, you will always be worn out, and you can't really do much. Most students, when they sit behind their books, realize that they can't study for even 30 minutes. As soon as they pick their books, they feel sleepy and they have to sleep for many hours, and most even wake up from their sleep even tired again. So start taking good care of yourself. If you think that you are not feeling well, you should pass through the hospital to get yourself checked up. That is better than wearing out yourself because you are afraid of missing out lectures. If you are tired, make sure you rest, and make sure you drink water, lots of water. Always stay hydrated, and also eat well, eat good food. Don't always be eating junk foods, the pizzas, the sandwiches. You know what I'm talking about. Alright, last but not least is the fear factor. Now, most students live with fear all the time. The fear of failing, the fear of not graduating, the fear of not doing well in school. So many fears. And this fear tend to cripple them a lot. There are people who are afraid of even answering questions in class because they think they will get it wrong. And sometimes these people even know the right answers, yet they will never talk in class. It's time to start working on your confidence. You are not in school to impress anybody. Remember that you came to the school alone. It is better to make a mistake and to be corrected than to keep your mistake and not be corrected. Be confident in yourself. Know that you are a bright and brilliant student. Know that you are as good as anyone else in your class. There is nobody better than you. You are the best among your friends. That is how you should see yourself. Don't see yourself as a mediocre. Don't look down upon yourself. Don't have any form of fear that would limit you and stop you from becoming the best that you have been made to become. Fear paralyzes. Stop fear. Don't be like Alex, who allows fear to take over his mind. The fear of failing his examination would make him always fail the examination. The fear of getting it wrong actually makes him get it wrong. It's time to overcome your fears. Look in the mirror today and tell yourself, I am good and I am the best and I am a brilliant and intelligent student. So there you have it. These are the top 5 mistakes I've realized that students make all the time. But this video would be very much beneficial to you if you watch this other video that talks about how I also failed as a medical student. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section down there. See you in the next one.